hemorrhoids and piles are synonym. The word hemorrhoid is derived from the Greek word haima, which means blood, and rose means flowing, whereas the word piles is Latin in origin from the word pila, which means a ball. So there is just a difference in the origin, Greek and Latin origin. So piles and hemorrhoids are one and the same. Piles is varicose condition of veins of anorectum. Now what do you mean by varicose? Varicose means the veins are congested, dilated, elongated and tortuous. Now coming on to types of hemorrhoids. There are three types of hemorrhoids: internal hemorrhoid, external hemorrhoids and interno-external hemorrhoids. So we'll see the first type of hemorrhoids, that is internal hemorrhoids. Internal hemorrhoids are more common. They are located above the dentate line and are covered with mucous membrane. Whereas if we see the external hemorrhoids, they are located below the dentate line and are covered with skin. The third type, that is the interno-external hemorrhoids, they are covered with mucous membrane above and below by the skin. So these are the three types of hemorrhoids: internal hemorrhoid, external hemorrhoid and interno-external hemorrhoid. Now let's discuss the etiology of hemorrhoids. The first etiological factor is hereditary factor. Hereditary means when it is seen in members of the same family. The predisposing factors for hereditary hemorrhoid, number one is congenital weakness of the vein wall, and second is abnormally large arterial supply to the rectal plexus. Hemorrhoids are rare in animals. If you see morphologically, that is the second etiological factor, morphologically, hemorrhoids are rare in animals, but they are common in humans. And this is because of the erect posture of humans. And secondly, the anorectal veins, they have no valves, because we know that they are tributaries of the portal vein. So they have no valves, and the weight of column of blood produces a high pressure in the lower rectum, and that leads to development of hemorrhoids. The third etiological factor, that is anatomical reasons for development of hemorrhoids. The superior hemorrhoidal veins, they lie unsupported in the very loose submucous connective tissue of the anorectum. These veins, they pass through the muscular tissue, and when they are passing through the muscular tissue, they are liable to get constricted during the act of defecation. These superior rectal veins, they have no valves. We have already seen they are tributaries of portal vein, and so they have no valves. These veins, they have to drain against the gravity. So these are the few anatomical reasons why humans are suffering from hemorrhoids. Then there are some other factors like straining. When the person is straining, either because of conditions like constipation, or because of overpurgation, or because of diarrhea, this also constitutes in development of hemorrhoids. There are some pathological conditions. We have mentioned here that there are some pathological conditions like carcinoma of rectum or an enlarged prostate. In these conditions, because of pressure on the superior rectal vein, they lead to development of hemorrhoids. Now let's see the pathology. In pathologically actually, hemorrhoids are divided into primary hemorrhoids and secondary hemorrhoids. These primary hemorrhoids, they are located at 3, 7 and 11 o'clock position. These are the three positions. You can see here 3 o'clock positions, then 7 o'clock position and 11 o'clock position. Now these three positions are because of the branches of superior rectal vein. The superior rectal vein, here you can see that the superior rectal vein, the right branch is divided into anterior branch and posterior branch, whereas on the left side there is only a single branch, that is the left branch. And so this is left branch, this is the anterior right branch and the right posterior branch. So these are the three primary hemorrhoids. And when hemorrhoids develop in between these sets of primary hemorrhoids, they are called as secondary hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids can be divided into three parts: the pedicle, the internal hemorrhoid, and the external associated hemorrhoid. The pedicle is situated at the anorectal ring, and when you see it through a proctoscope, you see that it is covered with pale pink mucosa. The second is the internal hemorrhoid, which commences just below the anorectal ring. It is bright red or purple, and this is covered with mucous membrane. The external associated hemorrhoid, these lie between the dentate line and the anal margin, and here they are covered with skin. So these are the three parts of hemorrhoid: pedicle, internal hemorrhoid, and external associated hemorrhoid. Then degree and grades of hemorrhoids. Some say degree of hemorrhoids, some say grades of hemorrhoids. So there are 3 degrees of hemorrhoids: first degree hemorrhoid, second degree hemorrhoid, and third degree hemorrhoid. Here you can see I have given pictures of different degrees of hemorrhoids. So this is the first degree hemorrhoid. In first degree hemorrhoid, the hemorrhoids, they are located within the anal canal. They do not come outside the anal canal, but they bleed. So this is the first degree hemorrhoid, which is this one. The second degree hemorrhoid, these are the hemorrhoids that prolapse on defecation but return or need to be replaced manually, and then they stay reduced. मतलब क्या है कि at the time of defecation ये बाहर आते हैं और फिर बाद में या तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली अंदर चले जाते हैं या आपको हाथ से इसको अंदर पुश करना पड़ता है. The third degree hemorrhoids, these are the third degree hemorrhoids that are permanently prolapsed hemorrhoids. मतलब ये हमेशा बाहर की तरफ ही रहेंगे. Now we'll discuss with the clinical features of hemorrhoids. Bleeding, this is the first and the earliest symptom. This bleeding, initially it can be a slight bleeding, but may continue intermittently for months to years together. This bleeding is having a typical presentation that is called as a splash in the pan. मतलब क्या होता है कि ये ब्लड ऐसा बूंद बूंद करके टपकता है. That is a splash in the pan. Here you can differentiate hemorrhoids from fissure. In case of fissure, there is bleeding, but this bleeding is in the form of blood streaked stool. मतलब ये stool को लगकर blood आएगा, जबकि इसमें क्या हो रहा है, इसमें blood टपक रहा है. That is called as a splash in the pan. This bleeding is in the form of bright red blood which occurs during defecation. Much later symptom is prolapse. Initially this prolapse is slight, occurs during stool, but gets reduced spontaneously. But later it is to be replaced manually. मतलब पेशेंट आके क्या बोलता है आपको कि कुछ बाहर आता है मोशन करते वक्त और या तो अपने आप अंदर चला जाता है या मुझे हाथ से उसको पुश करना पड़ता है. Because of mucus discharge from the mucous membrane, there is itching. Pain is absent in case of piles. Here also you can differentiate it between fissure. Pain is absent in cases of piles, but in cases of fissure, there is pain, or actually it's a very painful condition. In fissure, there is pain before, during and after stool. पूरे टाइम उसको बहुत ही ज्यादा पेन होते रहेगा. In case of hemorrhoids, if the patient is complaining of pain, then you have to rule out other complications. Anemia occurs because of bleeding. Bleeding continues for months or years together. पहले स्लाइट रहती है, बाद में प्रोफ्यूज ब्लीडिंग हो जाती है, and because of this bleeding, patient becomes anemic. At times, patient comes with 4 ग्राम 5 ग्राम हीमोग्लोबिन, मतलब इतना ज्यादा ब्लीडिंग हो जाता है. Then local examination. You see students, local examination is very important part. You should never miss examination of the patient. Not only taking symptom of the patient is important, but we should always go for examination. So here we'll go with local examination. In local examination, the position of patient, that is Sims lateral position. You can see this picture. In this, the patient is lying on the bed and he's asked to turn on the left side. Now you can see that this is the left leg of the patient and that leg is stretched, whereas the right leg of the patient is asked to flex the right leg. Okay, and now you can easily do local examination of the anorectal region. If you go for inspection, in inspection आपको piles दिखाई नहीं देंगे. They are not visualized because you can't see the internal piles. Only third degree hemorrhoids, they are visible. Then you go for per-rectal examination. This per-rectal examination is done with your index finger. You wear gloves and you apply xylocaine jelly. Actually, this per-rectal examination is done to rule out other conditions, because you are not able to feel the piles, but you want to rule out other conditions like carcinoma of rectum or a polyp. So you go for a per-rectal examination. Then you go for proctoscopy. This proctoscopy is done with the help of an instrument that is called as proctoscope. Here you can see the proctoscope. So this proctoscope is to be introduced into the anal canal after applying xylocaine jelly. Approximate length of this proctoscope is around 10 centimeters long, and this is called as the obturator. You can see here, this is called as the obturator of the proctoscope. After introducing the proctoscope to its full length, the obturator is removed. The instrument is then slowly withdrawn just below the anorectal ring. If internal hemorrhoids are present, they will bulge into the lumen of proctoscope. So you can see the bulging hemorrhoids in the lumen of proctoscope. Sigmoidoscopy, colonoscopy, and Barian enema, these are usually done if you suspect some malignancy. Otherwise, in routine, you don't have to go for sigmoidoscopy, colonoscopy, or barium enema. Diagnosis of piles is done by history and examination. You don't require any investigative procedure. You just go for history taking and examination of the patient. So this is a clinical diagnosis. Now let's see what are the complications of hemorrhoids. The first complication is profuse hemorrhage. As I told you previously, this hemorrhage, it can be slight or it can be a profuse hemorrhage, and as it is occurring for months together, this leads to development of anemia, and at times it requires blood transfusion. Second complication is strangulation. Strangulation, this condition occurs when the piles are gripped by the anal sphincter. अगर ये anal sphincter के बीच में grip हो जाएंगे, तो that leads to strangulation, and this strangulation is a very painful condition. This strangulation is followed by thrombosis. In thrombosis, the hemorrhoids, they become dark purple in color or black in color, and the pain later on passes off. If this condition or this strangulation is sufficient enough to cause arterial obstruction, then that leads to development of gangrene. So strangulation can be followed by thrombosis, and if that obstruction is much greater to occlude the arteries, that will be followed by gangrene of the pipes. Superficial ulceration occurs because of the exposed mucous membrane. Sometimes internal hemorrhoids get converted into fibrous tissue. So these are the common complications: profuse hemorrhage, strangulation, thrombosis, ulceration, gangrene, fibrosis. Suppuration and pylophlebitis, these are the rare complications. Now let's see what will be the treatment of these hemorrhoids. Treatment of hemorrhoids is divided into non-operative and operative treatment. In non-operative treatment, we suggest the patient hot sitz bath. Now, what is this hot sitz bath? In hot sitz bath, we ask the patient to sit in a tub with lukewarm water and 5 to 10 ml of any antiseptic solution which is available, either betadine, Savlon, or our calendula mother tincture. So you can put that into that warm water and you ask the patient to sit in that tub for 10 to 15 minutes. This will reduce the edema and congestion and pain of the patient. Secondly, you can advise corrective measures for constipation. You will ask the patient to regulate his bowel habits, to avoid straining to pass stool, changing defecation habits. Like many patients are having the habit of ignoring the call for motion, so they should not do that. But whenever there is a call, they should go and pass motion, and to avoid spending a long time and straining in the lavatory. Some dietary advices are given to the patient. Patient is advised to eat green leafy veggies, drink a plenty of water, around 3 liters of water a day. Along with that, fibrous food is advised to the patient. So these are the few dietary advice which we can give to the patient. Local application is done to reduce the pain and edema, and patient is given antibiotics, analgesics, and anti-inflammatory drugs. In operative techniques, there are various options which are available. We'll see them one by one in short. First one is anal dilatation. Actually, this anal dilatation is a very painful procedure and it requires general anesthesia. In this, the anal canal is stretched and dilated. Second option is hemorrhoid ligation. In this, the pedicle is sutured. As I told you, hemorrhoids is having 3 parts. So the first part, that is the pedicle, that is to be sutured. Sclerosant therapy is also one of the options which is available. In this, a sclerosant agent is injected at the pedicle and aseptic inflammation occurs, and that leads to sclerosis of pipes. Then band ligation is also one of the options. In this, ligation is done with the help of a band and the hemorrhoids, they fall off. Other options available are laser therapy, cryosurgery, infrared coagulation. In cryosurgery, around minus 196 degrees Celsius liquid nitrogen is used, and that causes coagulative necrosis, and because of that hemorrhoids, they fall. So these are the various techniques available. Now let us see something about the myotic correlation with the rectal diseases. As you all know that psora, psychosis and syphilis, these are the three misms, and the fourth mism is tubercular mism. So psora, everybody knows that psora leads to dryness. There is hypersensitivity. All hypos actually, like hypoplasia, atrophy, these are all psoric manifestations. Whereas in psychosis, there is all hypers, like hyperplasia, hypertrophy, then overgrowth, tumors, they all fall under psychosis. Whereas in syphilis, there is all destruction, ulceration, destruction, then fissures. So all dyes like deviation, dystrophy, they are all syphilitic in nature. Whereas in tubercular, there is a lot of changing symptomatology, vague symptoms, shifting location of symptoms, and hemorrhage. Hemorrhages are mainly tubercular. If we see the diathesis, psora is having eruptive diathesis, whereas in psychosis, it is proliferative diathesis. In syphilis, it is ulcerative and suppurative diathesis. And in tubercular, it is hemorrhagic and allergic diathesis. Then the tissues and organs which are affected by these different misms. So in psora, it is mainly the ectodermal tissue, the skin, the blood vessels which are affected. So you can get hemorrhoids in psora also. Actually, pure psora doesn't lead to development of hemorrhoids. These are generally psychosoric in nature. In psychosis, you get hemorrhoids which are non-bleeding. Actually, it is affecting the endodermal tissues. So here you get hemorrhoids which are non-bleeding. You can get polyps because they are growth, then prolapse and carcinoma. Carcinoma is again a proliferative growth. So you get that under psychosis. In syphilis, it is mainly the mesodermal tissue that is affected. So perianal abscesses, fistulas, hemorrhoids, fissures, they all come under syphilis. In syphilis, hemorrhoid is with putrid and fetid discharges, whereas in psychosis, the rectal hemorrhoids are with extreme sensitiveness and pain. In tubercular, it is mainly the glandular tissue which is affected. So you get recurrent fistulas, you get hemorrhoids which are bleeding in nature. So you get bleeding hemorrhoids in case of tubercular mism. So here we have seen the different organs and tissue levels which are affected and what will be the presentation. Now coming on to our next part, that is very important for we homeopaths, that is homeopathic therapeutics or homeopathic management of hemorrhoids. So coming on to the first drug, that is Nux vomica. As you all know that Nux vomica is prone to indigestion and hemorrhoids. This Nux vomica patient has great itching of the rectum, and because of this itching, patient is awake whole night and is compelled to sit in a tub of cold water for relief. Patient जाके ठंडे पानी के टब में बैठ जाएगा, तब जाके उसको रिलीफ मिलेगा. In Nux vomica, there is ineffectual urging for stool, unsatisfactory stool. Unsatisfactory stool means पेशेंट को हमेशा लगता है कि कुछ पार्ट जो है वो एक्सपेल होने का बाकी है. ही इज नॉट सेटिस्फाइड इवन आफ्टर पासिंग मोशन. ही इज नॉट सेटिस्फाइड. देयर इज ब्लीडिंग हेमोरॉइड्स. As you all know that Nux vomica, all the different manifestations of Nux vomica are caused because of use of strong medications. Those who are drugged by modern medicine. So use of strong medicines, then spices, wine, sedentary habit. Actually, if you see this Nux vomica patient is leading an indoor life. He is having lot of mental strain, but he is not doing any physical labor. So because of this sedentary habit, that leads to development of hemorrhoids in Nux vomica patient. Nux vomica is useful in blind piles with painful stool. In Nux vomica, you get a great deal of other general symptoms, like you know that patient is very sensitive to all external impressions. like is sensitive to sound, is sensitive to light, then this patient is having a ravenous hunger. Along with that, there is nausea and vomiting with mud retching. Nux vomica patient is very irritable, fastidious, and zealous. In Nux vomica, there is alternate constipation and diarrhea. Just similar to sulfur, there is alternate diarrhea and constipation. And in Nux vomica patient, the hemorrhoids are aggravated by eating spices and wine, whereas it is ameliorated by sitting in cold water. When the patient sits in a tub of cold water, he gets relief. Actually, it's very good to start treatment of hemorrhoids with Nux vomica if the patient comes to you and gives you a history that he has been taken a lot of medicines from different quacks or different practitioners. So when the patient has been drugged a lot, then Nux vomica is very helpful, but the symptoms should match. That is very important, that the symptoms should correspond. Then only you can prescribe Nux vomica. And it is advised that this Nux vomica should be given several hours before going to bed, as it acts best during repose of mind and body. तो सोने के 2-4 घंटे पहले आपने अगर नक्स वोमिका प्रिस्क्राइब किया तो दैट इज द बेस्ट टाइम फॉर प्रिस्क्राइबिंग नक्स वोमिका. Another analog drug with Nux vomica in hemorrhoids is Aesculus hypocastenum. This Aesculus hypocastenum is a wonderful drug in abdominal plethora, which is causing deep throbbing pain. Because of this, there is always a lot of congestion. These hemorrhoids may be bleeding or non-bleeding. The main action of this drug is on the lower hemorrhoidal veins with characteristic backache and absence of actual constipation. This is the keynote. Another keynote of this is dryness of the rectum, as if sticks or splinters were pricking the fold of mucous membrane. This is the keynote and striking feature when you are prescribing Aesculus hypocastenum. Another important feature, as I told you, backache. There is a weak feeling at the sacroiliac symphysis. और पेशेंट हमेशा बोलता है कि मेरी पीठ जवाब दे रही है, मतलब he is not able to tolerate the back pain, and because of this back pain, this Aesculus patient is unfit for business. The stools are large, dry, and the anus is raw and sore. So basically, the three important symptoms of Aesculus: hemorrhoids, backache, and absence of actual constipation. So these are the three important symptoms which you require for prescribing hypocastenum. This Aesculus is useful after Nux vomica and sulfur has improved but failed to cure piles. So when you see that there is an improvement after giving Nux vomica and sulfur, but the patient is not cured, you can go for Aesculus. Even after cholinsonia, you can give Aesculus. When cholinsonia has improved the piles but has not cured the piles, you can go for Aesculus. The next remedy with abdominal plethora and flatulence is Aloe socotrina. Aloes differ from Nux vomica and sulfur and Aesculus because it acts almost entirely on the rectum, producing catarrh of its mucous membrane. This is very important. It produces catarrh of the mucous membrane. The hemorrhoids, they are like bunch of grapes. Patient आके आपको बोलता है कि अंगूर के गुच्छे के जैसे मेरे को कुछ फील हो रहा है. So those are called bunch of grapes. So piles like bunch of grapes. They are bluish in color, bleeding profusely, and it is relieved by cold water. The piles are tender, sore, and hot. Stools, they are passed out unnoticed. Patient को पता ही नहीं चलता है और stool pass हो जाते हैं with copious flatus. This is because of loss of power स्प्लिंटर एनाई, उसका स्प्लिंटर एनाई का कंट्रोल ही चला जाता है और उसकी वजह से स्टूल पास हो जाता है और एलोसेकोट्रिना पेशेंट को पता ही नहीं चलता है. In allosecotrina, these different conditions are due to bad effects of sedentary life, drinking alcohol, which causes portal congestion. There is aversion to physical and mental labor, and this is suited to persons just like Nux vomica who are aversion to physical labor. Nux vomica patient does a lot of mental labor, but in LOE there is aversion to both physical and mental labor. The next drug is sulfur. The main action of sulfur is on the venous circulation, producing plethora. These are the drugs which are producing a lot of plethora, a lot of congestion. This abdominal plethora has occurred from sudden cessation of bleeding from hemorrhoids, and so the patient complains of fullness of head and liver. Burning and itching at anus. Now this is very important. Burning and itching at anus. As you all know, sulfur is one of the Nash trios of burners. Others are arsenic and phosphorus. Here you can differentiate sulfur from arsenic piles. In sulfur, there is lot of burning, whereas in arsenic also there is lot of burning. But sulfur burning is relieved by cold application, whereas arsenic burning is relieved by heat. This is the main difference. In arsenic, there is lot of prostration, एंड इन आर्सेनिक पेशेंट हमेशा बोलता है कि ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे गर्म कोयला लाके वहां पे रख दिया है. सो देयर इज लॉट ऑफ बर्निंग विद प्रोस्ट्रेशन. Again in arsenic, there is stitching pain when walking or sitting, but not at stool. This is characteristic of arsenic. You will not get in other drugs stitching pain when walking or sitting, but not at stool, which is preventing sitting or sleeping. So this is how you can differentiate one drug from the other drug. In sulfur, other symptoms are there is redness around the anal orifice. You know that in sulfur there is redness in near all the orifices. So there is redness around the anal orifices. There is frequent unsuccessful desire for stool, very painful piles. The stools are hard and knotty, and because of this pain, patient is afraid to go for defecation. There is morning diarrhea with bleeding per rectum, painless in nature, driving the patient out of bed, and at times there is rectal prolapse also. Other general symptoms, as everybody knows, in sulfur there is desire for stool, there is great aversion to bath, patient is having a dirty filthy look of the skin, feeling of emptiness in the stomach at about 11 a.m. So these are all the different general symptoms of sulfur. In general, there is aggravation from warmth of bed and standing, and ameliorated by dry weather. So that's sulfur. Next drug which comes to our mind in case of hemorrhoids or other conditions of rectum is collinsonia. This collinsonia, there is pelvic and portal congestion which is resulting in hemorrhoids and constipation, especially in females. It is a very good drug for hemorrhoids in females. Collinsonia is indicated when there is sensation of sharp sticks in the rectum with constipation from inertia of the bowel. So this is a very important symptom, sensation of sharp sticks in the rectum. Most obstinate constipation with protruding piles. Piles during pregnancy, usually or especially in the later months of pregnancy with pleuritis. So collinsonia is a very important drug for piles during pregnancy with pleuritis. Painful bleeding piles, itching at the anus, just like retania. Again, one of the important symptoms are heart pains, which are resulting from suppression of habitual hemorrhoidal flow. So whenever the hemorrhoidal flow stops, whenever the hemorrhoidal bleeding stops, the patient complains of heart pains. And the chest pain, it alternates with hemorrhoids. इसमें क्या होता है कि जैसे ही हार्ट सिम्टम्स रिलीव हो जाएंगे, हीमोरॉइड्स वापस आ जाएंगे। जैसे ही हीमोरॉइडल फ्लो सप्रेस्ड हो जाएगा तो हार्ट सिम्टम्स आ जाएंगे। तो ये ऐसा अल्टरनेट चलते रहता है, चेस्ट पेन अल्टरनेट्स विद हीमोरॉइड्स। Collinsonia is useful in prolapse of uterus when it is complicated with hemorrhoids. So all the conditions are, with all the different conditions you get hemorrhoids in case of collinsonia. In heart diseases complicated with hemorrhoids, when cactus, digitalis and other remedies fail, you should always think of collinsonia. It's very good medicine when hemorrhoids alternate with heart symptoms. Next drug which can be used in hemorrhoids is hemamelis. In hemamelis, or hemamelis is said to be aconite of venous capillary system. It acts upon the coats of vein, causing relaxation and subsequent engorgement, and that's why hemamelis is indicated when there is profuse bleeding with marked soreness and heaviness. बहुत ज्यादा ब्लीडिंग होती है. Bleeding is passive hemorrhage which is dark in color, and along with this bleeding, patient is prostrated, which is out of proportion to the amount of blood loss. Blood loss बहुत ज्यादा रहता है एंड पेशेंट बहुत ज्यादा प्रोस्ट्रेटेड हो जाता है. मतलब जितना ब्लड लॉस है अगर आप देखोगे तो ब्लड लॉस के कंपैरिजन में प्रोस्ट्रेशन बहुत ज्यादा है. और एक्चुअली दिस सोरनेस इज द की नोट इन प्रिस्क्राइबिंग दिस ड्रग, and the second keynote in prescribing is passive hemorrhage which occurs from any orifice of the body. So these are the two keynotes for prescribing hemamelis. One is profuse hemorrhage which is passive in nature, and second is soreness. In hemamelis, this bleeding is associated with backache. Patient is having backache as if the back would break. Next drug is nitric acid. As everybody knows that the main seat of action of this drug is junction of skin and mucous membrane. Junction जहाँ पे skin और mucous membrane meet होते हैं, so that is the main seat of action of this drug, and so it is a very important remedy for fissures in ano and hemorrhoids. There is bleeding piles where the blood is bright red in color, sensation of splinters or sticks in the anus. This is also one of the important symptom of nitric acid. Splinter like sensation रहता है उसको. Pains भी जो रहते हैं ना, splinter like pains रहते हैं. Rectum feels stone. Bowel is constipated with fissures. Ineffectual urging. यहाँ पे भी पेशेंट को हमेशा फीलिंग रहती है कि बहुत सारा स्टूल है जो रेक्टम के अंदर है एंड ही इज नॉट एबल टू एक्सपेल दैट स्टूल, एंड सो देयर इज अ ineffectual urging. He is unable to expel the stool. After stool, the patient is irritated and exhausted. There is violent cutting pain after stool lasting for hours together. This is very important in nitric acid. Splinter-like cutting pains before stool, during stool and after stool. After stool के तो कई घंटों बाद तक के पेशेंट को पेन होते रहेगा. As you know, nitric acid drug belongs to the group of acids, so this will have the general weakness and debility of acid group. Other symptom of nitric acid is tendency to take cold and offensiveness. Everybody knows in nitric acid patient is having a very offensive urine that is called as horse's urine. Next drug is Paeonia. This Paeonia is a drug which is having mainly the rectal or the anal symptoms. So it's a drug for mainly rectal and anal symptoms. It's a very important drug for fissure, fistula and hemorrhoids. There is great oozing from the anus, keeping the anus damp and disagreeable all time. Patient will typically complain कि कुछ discharge निकलते रहता है, and because of that discharge I am not comfortable. Because of that discharge, patient is very much irritable. There is biting and itching at the anus the anal orifice is swollen, there is burning in the orifice after stool lasting for hours. As I told you, it's a very important drug for fissure, और ये fissure का important symptom है कि burning उसको होती है जब वो stool pass करता है. Patient must walk on the floor all night. उसको रात भर पेन होते रहता है और उसके वजह से वो रात भर क्या करेगा, सोएगा नहीं, बस चलते रहेगा. There is diarrhea with anal burning and chillness. So here we have discussed a few drugs for different conditions of hemorrhoids, then fissures, fistula, all the different conditions related to rectum and anal canal. But you should be very clear that homeopathy depends on individualization. So you have to individualize the patient and then select the remedy. If you see for the potency, actually we can't say that you give this potency or that potency. That totally depends on the symptoms of the patient. But I suggest you, when you select a remedy, after that, if you start with 30 or 200 potency, you don't change the medicine immediately, but you should go for a higher potency. You should go for a higher potency first, and if you don't get result, then you can change the medicine. Then Ratania is also one of the drugs. In Ratania also there is a lot of burning like fire. एंड पेशेंट एक टिपिकल सिम्टम देता है, वो बोलता है कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरा रेक्टम के अंदर बहुत सारे कांच के टुकड़े हैं. सो दैट इज द टिपिकल फीचर ऑफ रटानिया. पेशेंट विल टेल यू दैट देयर आर, माय रेक्टम इज फुल ऑफ ब्रोकन ग्लासेस. उसके अंदर ऐसा लगता है कांच के बहुत सारे टुकड़े भरे हैं. दिस हेमोरॉइड इज टेम्पररीली रिलीव्ड विथ कोल्ड वाटर, जस्ट लाइक नक्सवामिका और sulfur, it is relieved by cold water. Whereas if you see arsenic, in arsenic there is difference. In arsenic complaints are relieved by heat. So in Ratania there is burning before, during and after stool. So these are the few indications on which you can prescribe Ratania.